really like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
The basketball world is in a frenzy following Caitlin Clark's unexpected move of landing a staggering $25 million contract with Nike.
Clark could be breaking another record, this time with an endorsement deal. The Associated Press says Clark will soon be signing an 8-year, $28 million contract with Nike.
In addition to solidifying her status as one of the sport's biggest players, her record-breaking contract shocked the WNBA. However, Sophie Cunningham's response was one of utter incredulity. The league is filled with jealous murmurs. Clark's ascent from rookie star to marketing titan is changing the landscape of women's basketball. This is a power move, not merely a payout. This is how Caitlin astounded everyone both on and off the court. Hold on tight. How Caitlin Clark rewrote WNBA allegiance with her $25 million contract. Caitlin Clark recently redefined the rules for what it means to be a WNBA star. She signed an incredible $25 million contract with Nike in just a few months of her rookie season, which not only broke the league's records for footwear contracts but also exceeded the salaries of some seasoned NBA veterans. For the majority of athletes, that accomplishment would be sufficient to make headlines for weeks on end. However, Caitlin wasn't content to merely create history. Her goal was to make a statement. What followed had nothing to do with fame, fortune, or even the introduction of her own line of signature shoes. However, that is enormous in and of itself.
Get the next signature shoe in the W.
Oh, Caitlin, of course. Yeah, I mean, I know she has some,
like PEs.
Yeah, PEs, little colorways, but you could do that on Nike ID. I mean, the next Caitlin shoe should be the next one, and, you know, my kids will be wearing.
Her post-deal actions, which had nothing to do with herself, were the actual shock. A few days later, Caitlin extended an invitation to her colleague Sophie Cunningham to attend what seemed to be a small, private Nike function in Indianapolis. Sophie thought it was just a light-hearted celebration of the brand, perhaps a media day or picture shoot. She was unaware that she was going to witness one of the most memorable events in WNBA history. The lights went down. There was silence in the room. The enormous screen was then illuminated by a brief film that chronicled Caitlin's journey from her high school days in Iowa to the boisterous, high-stress arenas of the WNBA. In addition to highlighting the moments that made her unstoppable, the video didn't sugarcoat the hardships, the harsh criticism, the unrelenting skeptics, or the mental challenges off the court, record-breaking crowds, buzzer-beating shots, and the steadfast support of those who stood with her when the noise got loud. The film ended, Nike personnel came up and gave Caitlin a gold-stitched jersey, an honor often given to gaming legends. The room anticipated that she would take ownership of the moment. Rather, with a gentle conviction in her voice, Caitlin turned to face Sophie. "This isn't exclusive to me. This is for every woman who shows up, puts up a strong fight, and defends her team." It was more than just a symbolic act. Shortly after, a personalized shoebox was opened, displaying a pair of Sophie Cunningham Player Edition trainers with the words, "No Backing Down," proudly sewn on the heel, and designed in Indiana Fever colors. However, that package contained something else. A contract. It was a transaction that Caitlin herself negotiated as part of her endorsement conditions, not a gift from Nike. She had made sure Sophie got her brand contract under the Nike umbrella by using her influence. This was not your typical gesture of kindness. It was a well-thought-out action that went against the competitive ethos of professional sports. Caitlin's choice stood out in a league where every contract, every ounce of TV time, and every bit of public attention is battled for. Rewarding loyalty wasn't the only goal. The goal was to transform the culture of rivalry into one of unity. She had not forgotten the people who stood by her side in the face of criticism, stood up for her when the spotlight was at its hottest, and shared in both the good times and the bad. Caitlin made the conscious decision to share hers with the kind of quiet power that shouts louder than any press release, in a world where success frequently demands a single spotlight. And that leads us to the question that is on everyone's minds. Why did she include Sophie on the team? Was it sentiment, strategy, or something much more profound that hasn't been discovered yet? Keep an eye out. Loyalty over exaggeration. Why did Clark pick Sophie Cunningham? It wasn't exactly a parade when Caitlin Clark initially entered the WNBA. She was entering a new realm. She was entering a storm. Every move she took was captured on camera. Critics swarmed about like sharks. Additionally, she encountered physicality on the court that verged on hostility. Players such as Da and Angel Ree, they set out to contest her presence, according to Jane Carrington. Sometimes it's through words, sometimes it's through physical contact. The limelight was dazzling, the expectations were high, and the pressure was unrelenting. However, one colleague stood out as her silent shield throughout the mayhem. Cunningham, Sophie. Sophie did more than just play with Clark. She performed for her. It was she who intervened in disputes, taking the fouls that could have prevented Clark from playing and making it very evident to the rest of the league. Sophie would defend her teammate if the referees didn't. Her message was loud enough to be heard from the first row to the nosebleeds. Yet she didn't go over the brink into irresponsibility. Sophie essentially took on the role of Clark's enforcer, absorbing the heat to keep Caitlin confined to the rim. That was something Clark never forgot. And when it came time to recognize that loyalty, she didn't delegate the task to a public relations team or write a well-thought-out tribute. It wasn't advertising. It was intimate. In women's athletics, it was about redefining devotion and authority. Clark was referred to by the league as its golden goose, the player who needed to be protected at all costs. Nike, however, noticed something more profound. Her jump shot wasn't the only thing they were paying for. They were investing in her narrative, her power, and her capacity to inspire people both inside and outside the stadium. Caitlin Clark was more than just a statistician. She was an arena filler, a record breaker, and a quiet leader who had the power to completely upend a culture without saying a word. For this reason, Nike didn't just outbid Adidas, Puma, and Under Armour for her autograph. They were crushed. There was more to the $25 million contract than merely a wager on her performance. It was a wager on her vision. Off the court, her most unexpected play was about to take place. The scene was prepared. The room was filled with cameras, applause, and enthusiasm. Clark received an amazing gold-stitched jersey from Nike, a personalized work of art that appeared to be part of a Hall of Fame exhibit. The audience anticipated that she would put it on, grin for the cameras, and seal the occasion. Rather, she paused, held it in her hands, and turned to face Sophie Cunningham. "This isn't just for me," she replied in a soothing yet serious tone. "This is for all the women who show up, put up a strong fight, and defend her team. Give that time to marinate." Then, in a move that even Sophie was unprepared for, Clark reached inside a display case and took out a box. There was a pair of personalized, player-only Sophie Cunningham trainers with an eye-catching design and fever colors inside. "No backing down" was sewn on the heel. It was not only a present. Although that was a declaration, Clark wasn't done. Beside the trainers came an actual contract that formally welcomed Sophie into the Nike family under Caitlin's sponsorship. It wasn't only a co-sign, it wasn't a casual shout-out. This was a calculated business choice to leverage her position to promote the teammate who had supported her during the league's apparent attempt to push her boundaries. There was more going on in the room than just sports history at that moment. It was observing how the concept of leadership changed throughout time. This leads to Sophie's emotional response. How did she react to a gift of loyalty that changed her life and was unexpected? Continue to observe Sophie Cunningham's heartfelt dismay at Caitlin Clark's revolutionary Nike decision. That day, Sophie Cunningham did more than just cry. She was stunned. Her expression of shock wasn't false for the cameras. It was the unadulterated, overwhelming feeling you get when someone finally recognizes what you've been doing quietly and without praise and concludes that everyone should see it. This was not what she had anticipated. She wasn't looking for attention. Nevertheless, Caitlin Clark made sure she received it. You see, some may ask, why Sophie? Why would the biggest rookie in the WNBA, who recently signed a record-breaking $25 million Nike contract, use her first significant endorsement opportunity to highlight someone else? There is more to the solution than friendship alone. It's about silent understanding, sweat, and bruises chiseled out of loyalty. Every superstar aspires to have Sophie as a teammate, but few actually do. The person who jumps into a heated altercation. The person who confronts reporters who breach boundaries. The person who absorbs hits that the cameras miss in order to prevent Caitlin from returning to the basketball court. You've witnessed it if you've been watching Indiana Fever games this season. If the refs won't step in, she will. She made it obvious to anybody who dared by following Caitlin about like an unofficial bodyguard. Her defense wasn't covert. In order to keep her rookie upright, she occasionally had to crash into opponents and toss her body into the mayhem. She became Caitlin's muscle, her silent enforcer, and her "don't mess with my teammate" warning in trainers at times that were as obvious as day. Nevertheless, Sophie never requested a headline, never made it a social media sensation, and never begged for recognition.